We spent the weekend in Montreal this weekend visiting family. And we thought it would be a mistake not to take a walk down from our hotel to Old Montreal. Old Montreal is part of downtown Montreal that is being really preserved in much of its original state. And some of the original buildings date back to the 1600s. And Old Montreal is very European in character. And so if you live out in the west of Canada like we do, we have some old buildings, but not as many or not any as old as Montreal. And so the cobblestone streets, the cafe culture, and architecture dating to the 17th and 18th century make it a must-see while you're down. The one of the things you got to see is Notre Dame Basilica in Montreal, and the basilica was completed in 1829. And we were there in the day, but apparently they tell me that there's a fairly unique light show and sound show that tells a bit of the history of Old Montreal and the church. Old Montreal, or the city of Montreal, really dates back to 1642 when settlers from France landed on the St. Lawrence River and began to build a Catholic community, or the model Catholic community. And the town very quickly became a major place for commerce or trade and military. If you can avoid taking your vehicle, that is, if you could walk from your hotel or you can take an Uber, do so. As you get into Old Montreal, the cobblestone streets are fairly narrow. Parking, there's not as much parking, but it is a great walk from downtown. And again, we did walk from our hotel. You can really appreciate wandering up and down the streets because there's so much to see, so much shopping, so many places to eat. And Montreal's Old Port sits on the St. Lawrence River. And so the river makes for a great stroll. And there's green space and things to do for kids to burn off a little bit of energy. During the winter, they have the Montreal Highlights Festival. And at that point, there's a large outdoor skating rink, which is free to the public. You can check out the Eye down here, or there's a whole bunch of things you can do here with the family, and a whole bunch of little shop. From the port, the old port, you can actually see the dome top of Bon Secours Market. And for about 100 years, this was the main public market in the Montreal area. And it is a beautiful building. It's at, I believe, 350 Rue St. Paul in Old Montreal. It's a 2-story domed public market. And it was inaugurated in 1847, and it's recognized as one of the 10 most beautiful heritage buildings in Canada. So if you get a chance to see the market, that's worth checking out as well. As I mentioned, there's no shortage of little shops and galleries and places to buy souvenirs for your friends back home. Plenty of places to eat as well. Some great coffee shops. Well worth a wander around. Give yourself a couple of hours because you're going to want to stop like we did for a wonderful brunch. We were visiting towards the end of April, and we're fortunate to have beautiful weather. I think during the day while we were wandering around, I think it got up to about 30 or 24 degrees centigrade. So perfect weather. We were sitting in the shade on a patio, on tables outside, but it was still very pleasant and worth having a break. No, that's all I got for you. There's some more images and some more walking around for a minute or two more that's worth seeing. But definitely, if you go to Montreal, budget some time to have a little wander around Old Montreal. It's definitely worth it, and plenty of places to have a nice drink or a coffee and sit and watch the traffic go by.